Happy New Day, everybody. I don't know what part of the world you may be in, but I just thought I'd check in for a minute and talk about the seasons changing. We already know that there's stuff going on with the supply and demand in the communities, and we know all of that, right? Because you've been hearing about it not only from me, I'm sure you've been hearing about it from other YouTube channels as well. But are you prepared for the change of the season? Just like, I live in the upper Midwest, and when it gets cold, it gets very cold. And there are things that people have to do to be prepared for that, whether they are people that are driving vehicles or people that are out walking every day, having multiple layers of clothing so that they don't freeze while they're outside, for one thing, because when it drops below zero, you can just kind of forget it's going to be there for a while. But we know that the Rona and all that stuff have been going on for a while. Now there's a new variant and all that happening. And you can look up information about that from the World Health Organization or your local health department or whatever. Um, but there are some things that that are being said. Like if you check out Motivational Doc's channel, uh, you'll see that Dr. Mandel, who's a chiropractor, he gives some very good, sensible information, which is similar to information that I have shared based on my own personal experiences. And no, I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not giving medical advice, I'm not giving legal advice. I'm talking about my own experience and what helped me make it through my situation last year. But I started looking back and doing a little research. 5, 6, 10 years ago, there were people talking about the same thing, medical doctors and professors from very prestigious universities were talking about the same things that I have been trying to tell you guys about, that Dr. Mandel has shared with people, and even, some things that I learned from Dr. Fauci. And I know some people are kind of iffy about Dr. Fauci now, but when I had my illness and I was quarantined at home, and I looked up his videos and I saw something that he had said. I did what he had said, and that's what helped me to recover and to not go through as horrible of an experience as many other people have, and even some people that I know that have died. Vitamin D. Just speaking as a person that's gone through something and just sharing some information with you, and you can accept it, you can reject it, you can say that it's silly or whatever you want to say, but vitamin D, when we increase the levels of vitamin D in our body, we're able to fight off illnesses a lot better. I'm just saying, not only from what I've learned from these prestigious college professors, university professors, medical doctors, um, reading books. I don't know if you can see, I kind of am an avid book reader. And I like to read about nutrition and health and all that and know what's really good for me. But, the information that I've been checking out this morning and researching this morning is that, like I said, 5 years ago and 10 years ago, and in some cases even longer than that, there were medical professionals who've written journals, who've met publicly, and there are even some videos that you could probably find here on YouTube from some of these prestigious universities where they talk about vitamin D deficiency. Remember way in the back in the past, kids used to get rickets related to vitamin D deficiency. When you have more vitamin D in your system, and from what I've learned from these medical journals, that the average adult should have an intake of 2,000 IUs of vitamin D every day, and kids should get 1,000 IUs of vitamin D every day. If it's an adult that's obese, they say 6,000 is a more appropriate number. I can't get into all of that with you because all I know is that for me, when I got sick last year, they said an average adult, whatever average is, considering nowadays vast majority of people have some amount of obesity, even when they don't want to admit that they're obese, um, according to medical standards. Um, I didn't take 2,000 IUs of vitamin D. I took 3,000 basically because I would take one vitamin D tablet, which is 2,000 IUs. I take my daily multivitamin, which has about 1,000, and I took my cod liver oil because my grandparents taught me that in order to stay healthy, you needed to have your cod liver oil. And, try to get out in the sun for a little bit every day. But, like where I live, before all the chemtrails and stuff were happening, which seems like nobody's talking about chemtrails now, isn't that funny? Past 2 years, nobody's been talking about chemtrails. But where I live, there are certain times in the year where there's a decent amount of sun in my area. Winter comes, not a lot of sun, not a lot of direct sunlight. It's still bright outside because there's so much snow and it's so doggone cold. So it's really bright. And, people wear their sunglasses, because the sun, what little bit that's coming through the clouds is reflecting off of the snow, and it can be really bright in your eyes, so people will wear sunglasses. And I'm not advocating people go out and start sunbathing and all that stuff because skin cancer is real. It does happen to people and all that. But what I'm saying is that it's important to have enough vitamin D in your body. And um, something that I personally do for my own sake, for preparedness for the colder weather that comes up, because I do take that vitamin D now. Um, it it's good to have enough in my body because increased amount of vitamin D, and I'm not saying go overboard with it because too much of anything is bad for you, but an increased amount of vitamin D decreases inflammation in the joints, just like turmeric does that too, decreasing the inflammation in the joints. And if you have, you know, sciatica or other ailments, you can find that you're able to move a lot better, have less pain when that inflammation is down. Um, and although there are foods that have vitamin D in them, um, according to the studies that I've checked out, I mean, like I said, studies from 5, 10 years ago. I'm trying to check out stuff on the long term, a lot of people say that there's just not enough research on this or that or whatever. Okay, I'm checking stuff out. There were studies done a long time ago, and I checked it out then, and I've checked out the present studies that are being done and seeing what things are saying the same thing, or are there any differences in anything. And at this point, the conclusion is that, increased vitamin D levels helps support your immune system It's probably why there's so much of it in a daily multivitamin. I'm over 50, so I take the over 50 multivitamin. So I get my multivitamin, I take my vitamin D, and I take my cod liver oil because my grandparents never steered me wrong. And the only time I've gotten sick is when I didn't take that cod liver oil. So guess what? I'm not doing the liquid kind though. I do the gel tabs. But whatever works for you. But you can get vitamin D out of some other things, in your fish or whatever. But you're gonna have to be eating a whole lot of fish to get that level that you would need on a daily basis. And considering all the pollution and everything in our lakes and whatnot, there's a reason why there are standards set in place, at least here in America, for what foods we can eat and how much is really appropriate of the different types of food, like different types of fish. I love fish, but there's only a certain amount of tuna or a certain amount of salmon or a certain amount of, pollock or whiting or whatever that should be eaten within a month's time because, there's a lot of mercury in the water, etc., all of that. But my point in all this is, are you prepped for the changing seasons? You know, a lot of times it's easy to just look at the day and say, okay, well, today I'm cool. I think I'm good for 3 days, which is what FEMA tells you to be prepared for, to be able to handle 3 days. 3 days can go by really fast. So, if at all possible, have some stores set up, have some things put away. So, you know, and it's not like you have to have it and gorge it and eat it all down right then. You're putting away so that you're prepared for when the cold weather comes. You can have a level of cans, your fruits and your vegetables and your beans. Got a little extra cash? Try to get more cans while they're on sale. Stack them up. Another level of those. Get you some dried beans. Put them in those metal tins or in those containers like I've shown in previous videos, and I'll do another video upcoming to give people more ideas of how I do that and put things away. Um, so that way, if you live in the area where there's a possibility of snowfall, um, you never know when a blizzard's going to come. You might think of yourself as living in an area where there's no possibility of snowfall, but guess what? A blizzard still might come. They come. Well, they come in my area anyway. So I have to be prepared for the inclement weather, not only with food, but how I dress for the weather, being able to dress in layers so that if I'm out somewhere and too if I get too hot, I can always take something off. If I'm too cold and I'm already out and about, it's hard to add. But I'll do some videos on that kind of stuff and some preparedness things regarding what you can put in your vehicle if you drive a vehicle, how to prepare your vehicle for the weather, and what to carry on you at all times. If you made it through all the way to the end of this video, I want to say thank you and thank you for watching. I hope that you give me a thumbs up, make that YouTube algorithm happy. Leave a comment in the comment section. Ask a question if you want to. Say something that you didn't like the video. Uh, say what you liked about the video or what you'd like to hear more about. If you would like some preparedness information sent to you through email, you can leave that in the video and in the comment section. And I'm willing to share some of my information because I have lots and lots of binders, different information on different subjects that I study regularly to be prepared and to be able to help other people to be prepared for everything that's going on. So I will talk to you again soon. I'm about to pull off this dehydrated mint and grind more of it into a tea to fill another tea tin. And I have my last bit of mint that's pulled out of the garden right now, um, dehydrating. And very likely that when I go back to work tomorrow, one of my coworkers may share more mint with me because she's growing it, but she doesn't really do anything with it. It was just kind of like a fun thing for her to grow it. So I did that tin of the garden mint tea for her, and the rest of it I'm just prepping for my own needs as the weather, changes because I'll use it all winter long. And as prices go up, um, we have to find ways to be creative to meet our needs so that we can have as normal of a life every day. Especially if you have kids that are used to having certain things at certain times, or grandkids, or whatever, whomever it may be. Get those things that you need. Yesterday I talked about the prices going up in the vending machines. So why would I spend money in a vending machine? Why would I spend $1.25 for a little teeny little bag of chips for one when I can get 18 bags in a variety of flavors by going to Aldi's or Cubs or Sam's Club or Costco, if those were places that I had shopped at, and get a bunch of them, have them, store them away, and then take out one and add it in my lunch bag so I can carry it with me to work or wherever I need to go to for that day. If I feel like having that treat, I have that treat. And that is costing me, it's the same thing that's being put in those machines, the exact same thing, name brand and everything. Exact same thing is being put in those machines, but instead of paying $1.25 per bag, to watch it drop in the machine. And sometimes machines take your money and your product gets stuck there, and you're beating against the machine and shaking the machine, hoping that your product will drop. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't. But instead of doing that, you can get the 18 for less than $7. Less than $7. That's somewhere around 60 cents a bag, maybe less. It's a good deal, any way you look at it. But prepping for the changing seasons, just like if you live in a colder climate, you know that as the seasons change, you may not be wearing things like I'm wearing this t-shirt. You may not be wearing things like this everywhere in the community all day, because you don't have as much of that sunlight as you were getting before. You may find yourself having to wear sweaters and shawls and all sorts of things like that. Warmer clothes and knit clothes. Just as I have to rotate my clothes, I have to have what I need prepared to go in my body, food wise, vitamin supplements, and all that. Talk to your doctor and ask what kind of vitamins that you need for your body. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not giving medical advice, but your primary care physician would be able to tell you what is proper nutritional value you should have in your body. Or you can go on WebMD or whatever and check that kind of stuff out for yourself. Don't have to take my word for it. But there are a lot of journals and a lot of studies out there that you can find if you take the time to do the research and see what will help with building up our immune system and then moving more as much as we are able to improve our physical activity and improving our health, it makes a difference. So it used to be when I was a little girl that there was what was called there was a presidential physical fitness award that was given for kids who would do certain physical fitness activities in grade school and high school. And I got that award, several times. They have you do so many sit-ups and jumping jacks and pull-ups and push-ups and all that. But today, well, I haven't heard of it in quite a while. I haven't heard of it as far as like my grandkids. I don't think I even heard of it when my kids were in school. So I don't know what happened to that particular thing, but the physical fitness itself was a good thing. I used to be a part of the 4-H club, and I know that's kind of still around because they talk about it at the state fair, but they do more sewing and things like that. I don't know if they talk about the nutritional aspect of it. Things changed from the four basic food groups, where they would say 4-4-3-2, um, to now having a food pyramid. Food pyramid seems okay, but it seemed like people were kind of healthier when we just had the four basic food groups. But I could be wrong. But that's how it appears. Because today, sorry, there's a plane going overhead right now. But today, in today's society, it seems like there are more obese people, more sedentary people than there was in the past. More ailments that are related to obesity and in our diet in one way or another. A lot of the food that we eat it is being produced in a way where the chickens are growing a bit faster, they're maturing a lot quicker than they used to, and they grow so fast that instead of having a normal size chicken breast, it's kind of like twice the size. It's really kind of significantly larger. And a lot of chickens can't handle the weight of their own rapidly growing bodies at such a quick rate, um, and they fall and they break their leg. And those broke leg chickens are still um, processed, and you may find the broken chicken legs in some of those bags of frozen processed chickens, which are in some of the grocery stores today. Because it used to bug me that I would buy a bag of the frozen chicken legs or whatever, and it was like, what in the world? Why is it broken? Why are there so many broken chicken legs in this bag? Then I found out why. I did some research and I found out why. Um, and looking at the chicken breast, and it's like, I spent half my time growing up on a farm. I know how the chicken breast is supposed to look. Why are they so huge? But a lot of people just say, yay, it's more meat. But why is the chicken breast so huge? Why are our kids overweight and some of them are taller and bigger than others in their family? Just curious. My mind goes those places. Um, just some things to think about. What's happening with our food? And are there different things that different food processing companies do, or are there expectations that they have of the farmers that are raising their cows or their chickens or their turkeys or their ducks or whatever? You know, lots of things. And just about a week ago on the news, they were talking about hot dogs, you know, and how eating hot dogs is not the best thing in the world for you. But it just seems like people should have already known that because the more processed foods are, the more damage it could potentially cause. Like, I used to eat a lot of processed foods, and then I developed bad heart. um, and my cardiologist told me some things that I had to change in my life. Did I want to change them? No, because they become like a habit, and I got used to eating and doing the things the way that I was doing. But as long as I continued on that road of eating things the way I was eating them, it wasn't helping me. So I had to learn how to prepare my food differently. And I know some people say, well, that's not fun. There's not a whole lot of grease and fat in your food, but it's healthier for me. And my arteries are now clearer, and my health has improved a lot. So much that I've gone from being seriously ill and formerly having lots of heart attacks to my health being really improved and my cardiologist being actually pretty happy about the changes that have happened in my life. So, although I don't follow the crowd and that makes me kind of unpopular in many ways, I try to do things that are healthier choices for myself, and I try to be transparent about that so that other people they hopefully get something good out of what I share. And like I said, it's up to you. You can accept it, you can reject it. I'm just speaking from my own experience. Hey, this is Danette's Kitchen, and I actually talk about more than just the kitchen. I talk about life because life in itself means change, growth on your part, on my part, in your mind, in your heart, in your attitudes, in your ways, and what you do, in your habits. That's optional. Those are just things that you have to make a choice for yourself. How do you want to live? Do you want to be able to enjoy your life and be comfortable in your life? Do you want to feel good and be able to get in and out of bed on your own um, with as little inflammation as possible? Not always being sick, feeling sick, and all of that. Those are choices that we have to make for ourselves. Do you want to be prepared? Because if STHF happens, which has happened multiple times in the past year, if you've been watching my videos, um, to deal with uh, community distress and things that were going on. We had the virus. We've got like supply shutdowns in some parts of my nation in America. The power has been out for extended periods of time, and there were people that weren't prepared at that time. And when they had the ability to get one or two solar light bulbs or whatever, then they were grabbing at that. But if you have the things that you need and you are prepared, when the lights go out, you can kind of relax. You'll be okay. You just know that this is a day when those kind of things are happening, and You'll do other activities to fill your time. So my t-shirt says "Better Together." It's one of the community t-shirts that we made to go around and pick up garbage and other things. But we are better together as a community here on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed yet, I just ask you to hit that subscribe button. It would be super to have you as a part of the Danette's Kitchen community, and which is a part of the prepper community, food preparedness, home preparedness, having a plan for you and your family. Well, until next time, I have a great day.